The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, horror fans, and welcome to episode 310 of Frightmares. I'm your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for 1989 Society is the man himself from What Did Jason Hill Make Me Watch, Mr. Jason Hill.
Hello. How is everyone today?
Hello. Doing good here, and I know the family is sick, unfortunately, which is always a fun ordeal.
Yeah, hopefully I won't have to get up in the middle of this podcast and take care of a sick child. But hey, we do what we do for the love of the game, right?
That's true. It's funny when kids get sick because they either are just so unhappy and are just in a big dramatic mood, or they just crash out. It's one or the other. It's like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's such a weird contrast there. So
currently have a child that's sick, but he'll start coughing and waking himself up, and then he's very upset because he's woken himself up when it's supposed to be asleep, which understandable, happens to all of us. But he's a toddler and doesn't like it, which again, I don't like it either when that happens.
Yeah, the rage caused by something that they do to themselves without realizing it is so funny to watch. My daughter will do that all the time. She will do something that makes herself mad, and then she just rages about it. And I'm like, this is so funny to watch, but also come here, I'll give you a hug. It's okay. So yeah. But we are talking about, we're talking about a wild one today. This was actually a pretty early Jason pick back when we started these last year. I'm trying to see when I actually watched it for the first time because I've only seen it twice. And I'll tell you what, upon a second watch, I noticed so much more than I did the first time. I did not realize how much foreshadowing there was. So I watched this on August 30th, so it was probably around September when we did that Jason pick, and now we're doing it for 1989, and I'm very excited because I feel like this one, it's got great ratings, don't get me wrong, but I feel like this one doesn't really get talked about a lot.
It's in this weird, like I want to say it's an underseen gem, but a lot of people have seen it. It's kind of lives in this weird place of people have seen it and people haven't heard of it. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, it's really strange. I mean, you've got great people involved, great director, great producers and writers and stuff like that. A cast that really is very diverse. But yeah, and it's funny because we'll get into it, but there's a scene I know from this movie and didn't know it was from this movie until I watched it. And once I saw it in this movie, I was like, hey, that's where this scene is from. And I was like, man.
There's several gifts from this movie that the internet have taken a hold of. And it was like, oh, that's where, and I was like, yes, that's where this came from.
So yeah, my history with this one's pretty brief. It's one that Jason recommended last year. Watched it, loved it. Watched it again today, or finished it today at least. I watched an hour of it last night, and like 7 o'clock. I was like, "Fuck, I gotta finish Society." So yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
Contribution.
Yeah,
to society.
Exactly. What is your history with this movie? Is this one that you found out about a while ago, or was this more of a recent movie that you had discovered?
I think I saw this one after I was going on a Bride of or a Reanimator tear, because Yosin directed this and Bride of Reanimator. I hope you're not hearing my cat right now. She is going buck wild. I just need everybody in my house to chill out.
Everybody just relax. Give me an hour.
Exactly. But yeah, the first time I saw it was probably like 2015, somewhere around there. Or maybe 2000. Maybe it was probably an election year, 2016. Sounds about right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sounds pretty on brand for what this movie entails.
Yeah. I'm pretty like I watched it again. I was like, yep, I bet these people made a killing on the stock market this week. This is
Yeah. So that's
if you haven't watched Society, go out and watch Society now, or we're going to just ruin it for you because you need to go into that movie 100% blind, like absolutely blind.
Yep. And that's what I did when you originally suggested it. I don't even think I read the synopsis because I'm pretty sure you said just go in blind. And I don't remember reading. Yeah, I don't remember reading anything. And of course, by the end of it, I was like, yep. So yeah, if you haven't watched the movie, stop now because you have to go see this and all of its insanity. But before we talk about that, we got to talk about this, Jason's pick for the week. Oh man, I'm so excited about this one. I get excited about almost every single movie you recommend, but specifically this one because I had seen... Okay, so I always get these confused because there's Maniac Cop 1, 2, and 3. I think there's 3 Maniac Cops, I believe.
Yes.
But then there's Psycho Cop, and then Psycho Cop Returns. Sadly, there's not a third one to my knowledge, but Jason's recommendation this week was, in fact, Psycho Cop from 1989. The IMDb description is 6 college students on their weekend vacation are humiliated and killed one by one by a psycho cop. I hated that one, so I picked the next one because it was way more descriptive. And that one is, Officer Joe Vickers would probably make a good policeman if it weren't for his 2 nasty habits. Firstly, he is a devoted Satanist. Secondly, he likes to kill people. When he meets a group of teenagers spending their vacation in a wood hut, he decides to investigate. Okay, first of all, the
investigate.
Investigate. The fucking satanic, the satanic connection in this movie is so loose. It literally starts off with him in like this kind of cavey environment with, pentagrams and candles and shit. And at one point he draws a pentagram in the sand. And that's pretty much all the Satanism we get in this movie. That's
all you need.
That's all you need.
And it's just... it's the 80s. Oh, you got a pentagram somewhere? Oh, you worship the devil. That's it.
Yeah, and then the 666. No, that was The Omen I was watching. Yeah, exactly. I got that confused. No, he had a 666 tattoo, didn't he? Didn't Psycho?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's where you get all the Satanism from. So I thought that was hilarious. And then when I was watching this, I messaged you pretty much immediately, and I was like, okay, I know this guy. Who is this guy? And for those of you who don't know his actual name, because he is Bob Vance from The Office, his name is Robert R. Schaefer, and he plays Psycho Cop in the first and second movies. And I thought that was so funny because I'm hearing his voice and I'm like, okay, it sounds familiar. His face looks familiar, but he's also dressed as a cop. So figuring that out blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, before Bob Vance sold refrigerators, he was a psycho cop killing kids in the woods. I love this. And the kills are really fucking over the top. One girl gets slightly hit by a car and falls on the ground, and then she dies, dead. One guy gets tasered in the nuts, dead. I love the kills because some of them were like, I don't think that would actually kill you, but here we are dying from it. So it's just a really silly, over the top movie. I really enjoyed it, and you said Psycho Cop Returns is even better.
Yes, it is. Psycho Cop Returns is even more over the top in just the best way.
I love it. I also love how this movie was lit. It was almost lit like a fucking soap opera. It was just, the lighting was so bizarre. And I watched it on Plex, and it wasn't a great... the quality was not great at all. It was very pixelated and grainy, but just the lighting itself was really funny, and the acting was silly. Psycho Cop was great. I do want to know if it was intentionally campy or if it's one of those movies that was tried to play serious that became campy over time. May never get the answer to that, but then again, maybe I will. Foreshadowing.
Ooh, baby.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. I think it's got a pretty low rating, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I think people watch this and are expecting a masterpiece, and they're not realizing that it's just a dumb, silly movie. It's got a 2.4 out of 5, which is not that great. I gave it a 3 with a heart. I believe you also gave it a 3 with a heart, or just a 3. And your review on it from April 14th, 2021 was gonna need Psycho Cop and Dr. Givels to have a battle of one-liners, and I fucking 100% agree. 100% agree.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's how that's how few people have watched this on my friends list, because you're down here, right? You're like right there, and that's 2021. So not a lot of people are watching this on my friends list. So if you haven't seen this, it's on Plex and it's free.
Yeah, you need to. Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely need to.
Yeah. So I'm loving this one. So yeah. Oh, and then we have to say, since the man is here, I don't have to play my clip. So that is Psycho Cop from 1989. What does Jason say?
Jason says, check it out. You'll probably hate it.
You'll probably hate it. Love it.
For this one, you're probably going to love.
You're probably going to love this one.
I am surprised that those ratings on Letterboxd are as low as they are, though.
Yeah, it's pretty low. 2.4 seems a little, 2.7, 2.8 would seem a little bit more on brand. But Psycho Cop Returns has a 2.8. So that's a pretty big uptick from one to the other. Like a 0.4, 0.5 increase. That's not bad. So
yeah. And usually it's the other way around.
Exactly. Usually it's a big down. Usually it's a big dip from the first one. So
yeah.
Let's move on to highest grossing movies of the year and the Oscar winners as well. So the highest grossing movie of 1989 was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, bringing in $474.1 million. No surprise there. And the highest grossing horror movie of the year was Pet Sematary, bringing in $57.5 million. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Pet Sematary. Good for Stephen King.
Good for you, right? Yeah.
The book he tried to throw away.
Oh, that's the book he tried to throw away. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I said that was Carrie. Damn.
No, he tried to throw Pet Sematary. He thought it was just too dark. He thought he went too far with the child death kind of thing.
Was Pet Sematary prior to it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say you thought was dark, but the child orgy from it wasn't too dark. Okay, if that was after Pet Sematary, then that makes sense. Got it. Yeah. So this was the 62nd Academy Awards presented on Monday, March 26th, 1990, honoring movies that released in 1989. Best Actor goes to Daniel Day-Lewis for My Left Foot. Best actor in a supporting role goes to Denzel Washington for Glory. Best Actress goes to Jessica Tandy for Driving Miss Daisy. Actress in a supporting role goes to Brenda Fricker for My Left Foot. Cinematography goes to Freddie Francis for Glory. Director goes to Oliver Stone for Born on the 4th of July. Musical score goes to Alan Menken for The Little Mermaid, well-deserved. And Best Picture, a controversial Driving Miss Daisy.
To say the least. Say the least.
Pretty controversial. All I knew about this movie was it starred Morgan Freeman, and he drove around a woman named Miss Daisy, which is basically the entire plot of the movie. It's an old Jewish woman and her African-American chauffeur in the American South. They have a relationship that grows and improves over the years. Of course, starting off in the beginning of the movie, I got the vibe that Miss Daisy was an old racist bitch, because she made it very clear that she was not a fan of, people of color. But eventually she comes around, and that's the point of the story. And I did enjoy the turnaround she had, because they developed this kind of really wholesome relationship. And it's not like, I don't think this should have won the Oscar, in my opinion. It was a good kind of wholesome, like heartwarming movie.
Sure.
But yeah, I do love Morgan Freeman having a positive attitude the whole time, despite some of the things that were going on, especially in that time of the U.S.
Sure.
Dan Aykroyd was actually I didn't know he was in this at all, and he popped up as like a main character. He was fantastic in this. This was like a role.
Every once in a while, when Aykroyd pops up in like actual movies that aren't just like dramas or something, it's like, oh, Aykroyd, you're not just the comedian who has like weird thoughts on aliens. You actually can act a little bit too. You remember him in My Girl too? He's the dad in My Girl.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. But yeah,
he can't see without his glasses.
Is that what that's from? Oh, that's what that's from.
Because Macaulay Culkin's dead in the coffin, and she walks in on the funeral,
and
he's not wearing his glasses, and so she freaks out. She goes, "Somebody put on his glasses. He can't see without his glasses."
My wife quotes that all the time. I thought she was quoting something entirely different.
It's dead Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, it's dead Macaulay Culkin. Yeah, that traumatized me as a kid. I remember seeing him die because he got stung by bees too much, and I was like, "Oh, this is fucked up. This is a fucked up ending for a movie." But
good.
Yeah, still good. But Dan Aykroyd was fantastic in this, and I was actually very surprised at how long it took to hear the N-word. I really thought it was going to be very prevalent throughout the entire movie, but it was like an hour in before they actually said it. And I was like, hey, you know what? I mean, I figured it was going to happen at some point, but I thought it was just going to be popping off every few minutes because of the, given the time.
Yeah, no, you needed to see Do the Right Thing if you needed that. That's what you needed to hear.
And of course, it was Do the Right Thing.
This was the year that should have won. That probably should have won the Oscar. Have you seen Do the Right Thing?
I haven't seen that one.
Dude, do yourself a favor. Watch Heat first. I told you to watch Heat this week because Val Kilmer passed away.
Yep.
And then watch Do the Right Thing. Do the Right Thing is not 3 hours long like Heat is. So just forewarning. But Do the Right Thing is, I think it got nominated for, screenplay, but it didn't.
Okay.
The thing about Driving Miss Daisy and Do the Right Thing is Driving Miss Daisy kind of makes white people feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
Where Do the Right Thing makes white people feel awful about themselves.
Oh, good. I need to
hence why.
Yeah. Okay.
Hence why it was not nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, that's fair. We as a white person, we all need to be checked. You know what I mean? We have to be, checked every now and again. Okay.
Absolutely.
Spike
Miss Daisy
Lee
is absolutely a white savior movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what what Gabby was saying. She was like, "Yeah, it's a white savior movie." I'm like, "Yeah." So I understand why they win because it's the Academy. God forbid they give it to
Do the Right Thing is absolutely like, no, go fuck yourself, Whitey.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. Yeah, God forbid they give it.
Not quite as egregious as The Blind Side, but it's.
Oh God, I heard some drama about that movie recently that I was like, maybe I don't watch that one. So yeah, Driving Miss Daisy, gave it a 3 out of 5. At the end of the day, it was a good, wholesome movie because of the chemistry between Jessica Tandy and Morgan Freeman. I just enjoyed their relationship and watching a character actually have some growth. My review on it was, let's see here. Oh, yes. From here on out, I will forever be saying, I gotta make water when I need to pee. Because that was such a wildly unhinged way to say I have to pee. Like, I have to make water. Like, all right, Morgan Freeman.
I have to make water, boss.
Yeah. It's like, alrighty then. So.
Yes'm.
Yeah, there was a lot of yes'm, a lot of no'm. Yeah. So, all right, let's do the IMDb roundup here before we move on. All right. Society from 1989, weirdly released on June 11th, 1992 in the US. So it took 3 years for it to actually be released. This is the best description for this movie. It's rated R for bizarre sexuality and violence and for language. Right on the nose with that one.
Bizarre sexuality.
That's probably
this has got to be the only movie that has bizarre sex. There's it's lots of violent or strong sexuality.
Yeah.
But I've never heard bizarre sexuality. But I mean, if you've seen this movie, it's absolutely.
It's right on the nose.
You want to pee in your tea a little bit?
Just a little bit. That's not offered enough in restaurants. I think we need to start offering that everywhere.
Instead of lemon, you get.
Yeah, a little pee. It's still yellow. It's got moderate sex and nudity, severe violence and gore, moderate profanity, mild alcohol, drugs, and smoking, severe frightening and intense scenes, coming in at 1 hour and 39 minutes, listed as a comedy horror. Directed by Brian Yuzna, who was also directed Bride of Reanimator, Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, Initiation, Return of the Living Dead 3, and The Dentist 1 and 2. He also produced Reanimator, From Beyond, Ticks, and Dagon. Ticks! Written by Zeph E. Daniel, who also wrote Bride of Reanimator and Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 Initiation, and Rick Fry, who also wrote Bride of Reanimator. Composed by Phil Davies, who also composed Trancers 1 through 3. If you've never fucking seen Trancers, oh my God, it's one of my favorite just schlocky 80s sci-fi movies. It's so fucking good. Haven't seen any.
The first one just straight rip off of Blade Runner and Terminator, and it's so much fun.
Oh, and I love it. I haven't seen any of the subsequent sequels, but that first one is so fucking entertaining.
Do yourself a favor and watch 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Trancers is an Empire movie. 2 and 3 are Full Moon movies.
Oh,
and then
okay.
And you can skip 4 and 5 or 6. Those are, you don't need to worry about those.
You had me at Full Moon. Also composed by Mark Ryder, who composed Trancers 1 through 3. Cinematography by Rick Fitcher, who also did Bride of Reanimator. Edited by Peter Treschner, who also edited... Listen, this is so crazy. Phantasm 2, Puppet Master 2, Scary Movie 2 and Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde. The man loves a sequel. Don't know what that's about.
Much like Yuzna. Yuzna likes sequels too.
That's true. Starring Billy Warlock as Bill Whitney, who was in 308 episodes of General Hospital as AJ Quartermain. We've got, I gotta pull these up on my phone here. We've also got Tim Bartel as David Blanchard, who says this was his last movie, actually. Society was his last movie. We've got Charles Lucia as Jim Whitney, who was also in Tank Girl as Captain Darush. We've got Heidi Kozak Haddad as Shauna, who was also in Slumber Party Massacre 2 as Sally, and Friday the 13th Part 7 New Blood as Sandra. We've got Brian Bremer as Petrie, however the fuck you say his name.
Yeah.
He was also in Pumpkinhead as Bunt and Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 as Pino. Ben Slack as Dr. Cleveland, who was also in Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 Initiation as Gus. And then Evan Richards as Milo, who was also in Mute Witness as Andy Clark. This only had a budget of $2 million, and this somehow grossed $118 million, which is kind of wild for a movie like this, not getting a theatrical release for 3 years, being a very low budget movie. I mean, it does have the appeal. Oh, sorry. No, I'm sorry. It only grossed $118 worldwide. Just kidding. $118. I thought that was wrong for a second. I only wrote down 118, but I was like, that's got to be million. No, it's $118. Okay, take back everything I said.
Yeah, no, this movie just did not.
Yeah.
I mean, it played at a couple festivals, and no distributor wanted to pick it up because it's just too weird, I guess.
Too out there.
And they realized they was talking trash about them, essentially.
We're not fucking putting this movie out.
How much could a movie cost, Brian? $10 million?
It was filmed in Pasadena, LA, and Culver City, California. You can watch this on Amazon as a rental. Unfortunately, this one is not, unless Jason has a fucking place to find it. I know he always does, but it wasn't. It wasn't streaming for me. Movies that came out around the same time, going by the 1992 release, we have Lethal Weapon 3, Twin Peaks, Fire Walk With Me, Encino Man, Sister Act, Patriot Games, Batman Returns, A League of Their Own, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Death Becomes Her. Solid fucking time to be alive. IMDb summary: an ordinary teenage boy discovers his family is part of a gruesome orgy cult for the social elite. This is Society.
Beverly Hills is known as a society of wealth and privilege, but Billy Whitney doesn't seem to be getting his share. He thinks everyone is out to get him, even his friends.
You never were one of us.
He thinks that he doesn't belong.
Hell, they don't even look like me. Why are you guys doing this to me, huh?
He believes he's seeing things. Bad things. Beyond reality. Is it just his imagination?
I'm not paranoid. All my fears are real.
Or has Billy uncovered something terrible? Something unspeakable?
Don't go home, Billy.
What, you've been living with these people all your life and you didn't know anything about this?
If you don't follow the rules, Billy, bad things happen.
You know you'll make such a great contribution to society.
Who are you?
And now Billy
It's showtime, Billy!
is fighting for more than just his sanity. He's fighting for his life. The time is coming for Billy to take his place. In society, it's all about fitting in.
So, what do we got, Jason? What are your overall thoughts on Society from 1989?
It is a fantastic movie. First and second act, kind of weird. Not really sure what's going on. But then as that third act comes around, you're like, oh my God. What? Oh my.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's all you can say is oh my. Like, I did not see that coming. And even if you did see it coming, definitely not to the caliber that we received in the movie. It is the best way I can describe it is it goes from like a Jordan Peele mindfucky movie to Cronenberg in like from one scene to the next. I mean, once that lighting changes to the red and the shunting begins, like I was having some ice cream and I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait till this scene is done and then I'll finish my ice cream because I don't think I can eat that right now.
But yeah, like Cronenberg, like on mescaline or something.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like Cronenberg's cousin who like lives in a trailer and was like, hey man, I got some like, you want a little bit of this. I got it somewhere in South America. You like to like huff this real quick. Then you take it and you wind up in the hospital 2 weeks later. You don't know what the fuck happened to you, but it's good time.
But you won't. Yeah. But you wake up with the entire written script in your lap. Like, what the fuck did I do? What the fuck is Society? So my overall thought on Society is, well, it just vanished. There we go. It's a crazy story about manipulation, gaslighting, and deception from a group of elites that feeds upon the lower class. And it's really funny that we're doing Society right after They Live, because They Live was an alien race that had come to Earth and basically taken over control of Earth with, the laser beam that they're shooting into space to make everybody see something that's not really there. And this is kind of on the other side of that, where no one's hiding really. They're hiding in plain sight with Society, and they are also an alien race of something. They're not of this world, or they're, what does he say there? That Bill is not their class, their race, or something like that. He's like, you're just completely below us. We're this elite race that is dominating people like you, the lower class. So they're very similar in tone when we're talking about They Live in Society. And it's funny, like I said, that we're doing these back to back. But it is a really good commentary on social class. Like, it really is a good social commentary.
No. Especially, you would think now, maybe people are ready for Society. Maybe people just weren't ready for Society in 1989 when it came out. I think that's what Yuzna said about it, why it sat on a shelf and nobody watched it, because just people weren't ready for it yet. You'd think people are really ready for it now. Anybody like is like, you could see us like, okay, so this is what's going on in DC right now, I guess.
Yeah.
Even the judge. So did you recognize the judge, by the way?
It looked like Gene fucking Hackman, but it's not Gene Hackman. It threw me off. No. But he doesn't have a fucking picture on IMDb, so I couldn't figure it out.
So he's a character actor. He's in Friday the 13th Part 3.
He's
the hobo who puts the eye up to the camera. That's him. That's the judge in this movie.
What? Hold on a second. Because he didn't have a fucking IMDb picture. And Judge Carter, there we go. Wiley. Oh yeah, no shit. Okay. Abel from Friday the 13th Part 3. All right. I'm like, I know this guy. I swear to God, I see him come on screen. He's got the cigar. I'm like, it's Gene Hackman's cousin or something. Like, he's got to be related because he looks just like him. So that's really funny. Okay. Yeah. So going into some of the legs here is basically, like, I'm not necessarily hooked right from the get-go, but I like how it opens, because it opens up with Bill going into that mansion. You really have no idea what's going on. It's creepy and mysterious. And then we're basically led to assume it's a dream, because it flips to Bill talking to his psychiatrist about it. And you're like, okay. But what's very important about this scene right in the fucking beginning is the fact that he tells his psychiatrist, I'm scared of my parents, I'm scared of my sister, and I'm scared of you, referring to the psychiatrist. And when the psychiatrist says why, he says, I feel like something bad is going to happen, and if I scratch the surface, there'll be something terrible underneath. That is in the first 5 minutes. Like, that foreshadowing, I did not pick up on the first time. And I was like, whoa, he was laying like the groundwork right from the get-go with this movie.
In the second one, he's like, you'll make a great contribution to society. Like his second meeting with a psychiatrist, I was like, your psychiatrist is not supposed to also be your family friend. Like, that kind of defeats the point of psychiatry.
Yeah, it kind of does. And yeah, I wasn't suspicious of the psychiatrist at first, but of course, as time goes on, you're like, well, you obviously have to be involved in whatever is going on. You also, which I didn't pick up on the first time, you get a scene of the shunting during the credits. It's happening. Oh, yeah. It's happening during the credits. And I was just like, oh, there's more foreshadowing. Bill's friend David too, he's like, something's weird is going on here. to the point where he hides in Jen's closet to confront her, which I feel is a little bit weirder than saying weird things are happening. And every time someone has that feeling and tries to investigate, they get taken out. And you're just like, all right, this is a little too convenient. What's going on here? Who's involved? Like, where does this like extend to? How many fucking people are actually involved on this? It's like the Truman Show. This movie is just like the Truman Show.
He's a pet and he doesn't realize it. Or he kind of realizes it, but everybody's literally gaslighting him this entire movie.
The gaslighting in this movie, the level of gaslighting is actually kind of fucking crazy. Because every time something happens, everyone just explains it away. And you're like, this is not how it works, okay? Something is so
fine.
fishy.
No,
yeah.
We don't care about your basketball. Everything's fine, though. We love you. You're just like, you're one of us.
Yeah, you're one of us.
I love that his Jeep says hoops. On the license plate on his Jeep, it just says hoops.
I was going to say that. I was actually going to say that. Like, did you catch his license plate said hoops? Because they brought that up for a whole, 3 minutes of the movie? Like, it was so unrelated to the movie, but they showed him playing basketball at the beginning, and I think he was, a jock. But yeah, his license plate saying hoops was fucking great. And so it's funny because in the beginning, you just don't know, like, okay, maybe David's crazy. Maybe he's coming up with all of this in his head, because you even see when he's zipping up his sister, like her skin pulsating. And you're like, well, that was weird, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like David's crazy. He's already seeing a shrink. He's probably already on medication. How reliable of a narrator is he? Because we're basically going through the movie with him, not as the narrator, but we're experiencing it through his eyes. So how reliable is this story being told? And in therapy, we also learn that his parents, Bill, don't approve of him. His friends, they don't talk to him like Jen. He doesn't even look like them. Bill's like, I think I'm adopted. But of course, everyone gaslights him again. Everyone just like, no, you're fine. You're fine. It's all good.
Especially after that tape, when his sister's ex-boyfriend like plays the tape when it's just them like all having sex with each other.
Yeah. That's the moment of the movie when I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then he plays it for his psychiatrist and it's a completely different tape. And I'm like, no, wait, hold on. I don't think Bill's crazy anymore. I don't think Bill's crazy.
First we dine, then we copulate.
That whole fucking conversation that we heard was so bizarre on that tape. And you just hear the squelching and the squirming, and you're like, that's not what sex
it's really
sounds like.
Fun when I can just really stretch when you get nice and moist.
You're like, what? Who's stretching what? Yeah, the conversation was completely unhinged. Yeah, and then you mentioned it already, but he says, you're going to make a great contribution to society. You really deserve what's going to happen to you. And out of context, that sounds great. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I deserve what's going to happen to me. That could be obviously perceived as a good thing. But of course, in the context of what he knows is going to happen, it's a completely horrible thing. And it's like, goddamn, the foreshadowing was so fucking heavy. Like it was so heavy, and all the way up to the shunting scene. But in that first 30 minutes or so, it is just like an unrelenting wave of foreshadowing. And that you really can't appreciate upon first watch, because if you're not fully paying attention to what's exactly being said, then you're not going to get that payoff. And I think watching it the second time, I have a much deeper appreciation for it. This is one of those movies that watching it more and more, it's going to have a better experience, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Because the first time you see it, the shunting, that scene really is all you're going to remember, because you can't not. How can you not just be like, what? Like just flesh piles all over the place. It looks like, remember in Friday the 13th Part 5 where all those bodies are like being pushed through Freddy Krueger's chest when he opens it up?
Yeah.
Like, imagine that. Or I think it's actually the same special effects guy, Screaming Mad George. Okay. Like, imagine that, but with like several bodies strewn across a mansion floor. Like, that's what that whole scene looks like. And like Daffy Duck mouse are like, they're not really eating so much as they're absorbing, is what it kind of feels like when I watch the movie.
Yeah, like absorbing, and because even when the judge, he's like, oh, a mole, a beauty mark, and he goes to like suck on his neck, he eventually gets the beauty mark on him. So it's like I think they're just sucking like the life and the youth out of these, because they're younger people. And even they were talking in reference to Bill, they were like, oh, he's basically saying like he's ripe, he's ready to go. So it's almost like they breed these, well, some of them they breed, others they just, I guess they just get because they get in their way. But
Yeah.
The ones that Bill was essentially bred for this, and I think it's like they're plucking him off a tree at the right time when they're like, oh, this is the freshest he's gonna be. We got to get him now. It's a very
And the judge is, I guess, the antler queen. He's the one that's kind of choosing up everybody who's going to die. They're going to eat it.
great Yellow Jackets reference. Love it. Yeah, so David's obviously very paranoid about the whole situation. We talked about it just a second ago. He bugs Bill's family's car. We hear that very weird situation. And then he brings the tape. He's like, I don't believe this, and brings it to a psychiatrist. His psychiatrist basically, again, gaslights him, but then says, let me take the tape and we'll review it tomorrow. And I'm like, red fucking flag. Like,
you still don't believe me, Billy?
Yeah.
You still don't after all we've been through, you still don't believe me, Billy?
Flag on the play. I'm not buying it. Do not let that man take the tape. And then, of course, when we play it back later, it's a completely different tape. And that's the moment I'm like, okay, he's in on it too now, because we all heard you can't just fake that tape. I don't think David has the capacity to fake a tape like that. So that's when I knew. I'm like, okay, psychiatrist is in on it. This is bullshit. And then that's when
the parents are so fucking weird in this movie.
Bro, the parents.
They're just like, oh, yeah, I heard about David. Oh, we got a telegram. You got invited to the such party. Also, in a sea of like great 80s like teen douchebags, it's like he is the swan song of the 80s teen douchebag.
Who, Ferguson?
Yeah.
Absolutely
like
agree.
he's just like chewing the scenery, like just overtly, like just a huge, massive piece of shit. Every single scene he's in this movie, but it's perfect. But it's like you took all those awful douchebags in every single teen movie, be it a comedy or a horror movie, and we're like, we're going to just mash it in this one just hated character, bro, who's just so fucking awful.
He's such a, there is not a redeeming quality to Ferguson at all. And it's perfect. I don't want him to have any redeeming qualities. He played the part so well and was so believable in that role that it was... What
did you do at my sister's coming out party? It's like, oh, well, I fucked her. And then everybody else there got so turned on, they fucked her too.
Yeah, and that's the moment too, that it's another moment I love, because this whole time, everyone's gaslighting him, and Ferguson is like such an asshole. He's like, nah, I'm going to tell you what's happening. But it's like almost so unbelievable to hear all of it out loud that you're like, well, maybe he's just fucking with Bill at this point. Like, I felt gaslighted by the end of the movie. I'm like, I feel like this movie is just gaslighting me at this point. Like, holy shit. There's like the gaslighting is just so heavy in this movie, and like everyone around him, his parents, his sister, psychiatrist, like I'm almost certain, David David does come back, but it's pretty clear that somebody involved in this weird cult or whatever you want to believe is what's going on at this point took David out, because then Ferguson even admits to it. He admits that he fucked his sister, everyone fucked his sister, and then he took out David and drove him right into a pole. And you're like, okay, I think I believe you on the David part. I think I believe you on everything else, but again, I don't know what to believe anymore. Like, I really genuinely don't know who's telling the truth at this point. And
he's the love interest in this movie. Like, even she's sort of like playing it both ways.
Right.
Like ultimately she's on his side. Even though she is part of society. With
right.
her crazy mom.
Yeah, what is the mom's deal? Is she just like what was her point of the movie? She didn't really add anything to this movie.
So I've heard, because obviously her and her mom are part of society, and she shows up, and I've heard someone say, or I don't know if it was Yuzna or somebody explaining that she was there to show that eventually shunting that much and eating absorbing flesh would eventually have this sort of downfall towards those people, which is why she's just there and eating hair in the entire movie. It doesn't say anything. It's just completely beyond.
That makes sense, because the judge was eating the hair, and at one point he pulls the hair out of his mouth and he says, I have to slow down on this. I'm getting too old for it. That fucking track. Okay, then that tracks.
Okay. I think maybe it was Joe Bob. I heard somebody try to explain the mom, but even that, it seems somewhat hand wavy and it's not clear. Like, I would like there to be more clarity. I would prefer. This is a David Lynch movie where you go into it thinking you're not going to understand anything. This is a movie where you understand what's going on, except for like one or two minor things that don't really matter or just fucking weird.
Yeah, there's some things that I'm not really worried about getting an answer on, and even if we don't get a full answer on the mom, I think we can. I think there's enough there to connect the dots that, yeah, because of what the judge said at the end, he's like, he's got to slow down. He's getting too old for this. Because he doesn't really look well after the shunting is over, and he stands up. He's kind of like, arching over and doesn't look well, but he obviously they get some sort of high or something from doing it, or else they wouldn't continue to do it. So yeah, I
mean, have you ever been cruel to somebody? It feels really good, okay? To just be really cruel. Just to be overtly cruel to other people. It just feels really good.
Unapologetically just rude. You gotta love it.
Just be a psychopath.
Just thriving on chaotic energy all day. There's a moment I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, one of them. God, this moment was so fucking great when... So Bill's been finding some random shit around. He found the shrunken head in his locker. He finds the blow-up doll in his car, and he brings the blow-up doll inside where his parents are all dressed provocatively, and even the sister is. Like, Dad's giving the sister a massage, and you're like,
He looked like, his sister and his daughter look like his dad looked like a coke lord, and these were the girls in his harem.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like wearing robes, and he's like rubbing his daughter's shoulders, and like the mom looks like completely like hammered, just like laying on the bed, but in like lingerie. I was like, if I wanted on any of my parents doing this, just dressed like this, like openly, and like so weird,
acting like nothing is wrong. He throws the blow-up doll on the bed, like, what is this shit? And Jenny has the fucking audacity to say, that's a really disgusting thing to bring into Mom and Dad's bedroom. I'm sorry. Come again?
This is the least weird thing that's going on right now.
Absolutely.
Okay?
100% of everything that's happening on planet Earth, this is not weird at all compared to what you guys are doing in this fucking room.
Jenny, it looks like my dad's erection is rubbing your shoulders. We really need, and you're worried about me throwing a blow-up doll at you people.
Yeah,
we really need to assess some things.
Since when did Dad get 3 arms? I'm very lost here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. Very strange situation. I just love the audacity of saying, "Oh, that's gross." Like, really, Jenny?
And that's when you get the first. You're being a fucking butthead.
Yes, which is my favorite line. Favorite line of the movie, because it also comes back around where they reference it again, which we'll get to here in just a second. And we obviously, we find out Clarissa is planted. Of course, she's part of this whole thing, but then she does have an interesting character arc where she tries to help him in the end. But the biggest point of gaslighting, I think, for me, is fake killing Petrie or whatever his name is, because
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, literally he sees Petrie dead in the car, so he brings the cops there, and then there's a completely different car with nobody, and then Bill gets in front of the entire graduating class, or the entire high school, I think, and is like trying to reveal the society, only to have Petrie walk in and discredit everything. And then Bill's parents have him drugged and brought to a hospital where, because after David kind of disappears, Milo's on the case now, and then he can't find him. Yeah, so everybody just keeps getting involved. And at that point, when Milo got involved, I was like, I just don't fucking trust anybody. Like, can we trust Milo and his crazy mom? I don't know anymore. I don't know. So yeah,
that's a little bit of a gripe. That whole because Billy's been in literally every scene in this movie up until this point, and then when he goes to the hospital and in the second act, and Milo's the main character all of a sudden for about 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird shift.
Yeah, and then they kill him off, but not really. And then he comes back, he's drugged out.
Yeah,
I was like, this whole section doesn't, even for a movie that doesn't make sense up until this point. Ultimately, the whole movie makes sense, but you still don't know what the fuck's going on. You watch it again, it's like, this sequence is kind of fucking stupid.
Kind of feels out of place. Really does.
Like this sequence feels like all right, we're just going to put a filler here, and then when we get filming, we're going to fix all this. And then they got the part where they have to film. It's like, oh fuck, we didn't fix this part. Shit.
Fuck it. Just throw it all in there.
We're 5 minutes away from the shunting, folks. Nobody's going to remember this part anyway.
Stay tuned for the shunting. What I really love about the leading up to the reveal of the society is that the dream, or at least we assume that that's a dream Billy had in the beginning, kind of comes full circle, and that dream kind of plays out in real life. And then we find out, everyone starts clapping, and everyone comes out, his parents, sister, psychiatrist, the judge, Petrie's alive, Ferguson, Clarissa, everyone's there. And then we do find out that Bill's thoughts and feelings about not feeling like he was his parent-son is validated because they're like, yeah, you're a different race, different species, a different class than us. Like, you are not our son. We basically hunt down humans for shunting. And you're like, this is crazy. This is a dream, right? This isn't real. Yeah. I don't believe this.
This is what happened to that guy in El Salvador from Maryland that they can't find anymore. Yeah. This is what happened to that guy. This is exactly
what happened to him. He's being shunted right now as we're talking about this, and it's fucking crazy. So, yeah the judge mentions, and this is the question I have for you. So the judge mentions having to be born into society, but was Bill not born into society, or like was he adopted? I guess he was adopted. Okay,
that would be like I would say that would be like because they even bring these guys in on leashes. Did you notice that? Like, they got the thing for their neck. They're essentially bringing them in on leashes. They're pets. They're livestock. So he's not born in society. He's somebody they're bringing up. They're livestock.
Okay, yeah, because I did say that earlier. They're basically raised for this moment, but I was like, okay, if he wasn't born into it, I guess they were just adopted him very young or something.
No,
but then
this is like the people that raise their own cow and then bring them to slaughter for dinner.
Okay,
This is how they are. Those cows aren't born into society.
Yeah, that's
true.
They're
just there for,
Talk about a slow play, though. I mean, we're talking, you're taking care of this kid that's not yours for, 18 years before he's ripe enough to eat? Like, they are in it for the long game. You got to appreciate that amount of dedication. And then
every Christmas, every birthday party,
right? Taking him to school, picking him up. Sick. Yeah, that's dedication to just wanting to eat him later or feed on him. You also get a great kind of, not like a plot twist, but you get oh shit, David's alive and he's also going to be part of the shunting, and he gets fucking wrecked pretty quick.
Puts it up through his hand, goes up, I'm assuming through beehole to mouth hole.
Yeah, I mean, it's all connected in a series of pipes, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But yeah, and then we have the shunting. Like I said, it goes from a Jordan Peele kind of mindfucky movie to Cronenberg so fast. There was so much KY jelly, I assume. That's what that was used in the scene. And oh my God, there was a giant hand at one point. There's the mom walking around on feet, and the ass faces. I mean, the ending is one of the wildest endings I've ever seen.
Like, could you imagine what that set smelled like when they were filming the scene? Just like all the KY jelly, all those hot lights, all those just like flesh piles, and I'm just like, can you just imagine like all those people that had to probably just sit there for like hours on end while they were like, all right, and move. But also, when they're the mouth's extending, they can't move too much.
Right.
Because all the special effects would just come off and look bad and break. I bet filming those scenes was just a big pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, and for some than others, but I really hope that they at least crank the AC down and, make it cold enough in there, because nothing would be worse than having to be in all of that makeup, sucking each other's, skin off or whatever they were doing, and then being all sweaty and then covered in all the KY. Oh, God. Light a candle, man. Shit, it's not going to smell good in there at all. Especially with
everybody had a cold at the end of this movie. Everybody just had like one of those colds that won't go away for like a week.
That's really how we got COVID. It's just it went into like, what's it called? It's like not hibernation, but COVID was definitely born during this, and it just went into seclusion, and then finally unleashed itself upon humanity in 2020. Oh my God, so many people were so close together in that scene, just balls out. Literally, I think you see one set of balls from behind because the guy takes off his pants, and I was like, that's a dick. Everyone's naked.
Thank you, 4K.
Yeah, thank you, Arrow, for making it very clear. But I mean, yeah, then
even that covers the foreshadowing, Even the cover that.
Yeah, that was definitely unexpected. Was not expecting to see a guy hang dong. But man, yeah, I mean, the shunting is just, and it's funny because I saw a meme a long time ago, and it's a Seinfeld reference. It's one of the episodes where they open a Kenny Rogers roaster right across the street from Kramer's apartment, and there's this big red light shining through Kramer's apartment, and the meme is Kramer coming into Jerry's apartment, and there's just a whole, in the episode, there's just this big red light, and Jerry's like, what's going on over there, Kramer? And he's like, the shunting. And I didn't know what that was, and I was like, okay. So I saw that so long ago that when I heard shunting, I was like, that's what that fucking meme was that I saw years ago, and I was like, I gotta find
Jerry.
Yeah, I gotta find that meme. So good. So I think we covered everything pretty well. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we move on to the rest of the format here? Is there anything else you wanted to kind of touch on that we may have missed?
So when he finally does get to his parents' room and they are doing like the shunting, that's when you see the butt face, his dad's butt head.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And he said, so it's a correlation of my favorite line where Bill says, "Fuck you, butthead." And then at the end, when you see the father as a butthead, he's like, "Well, son, I guess you're right. I am a butthead." Like, ah. You're like, I like that.
And also, yeah, so that gif's made the rounds a lot on the internet because it's just so like, especially no context, like even with context, like what the fuck? But even no context, just seeing that clip, like what the fuck?
Yeah, and I've seen that's the clip I've seen. I've seen that, and I'm like, what is that from? Like, what the hell is that?
And I even see the clip because when the daughter's face comes between his mom's legs, when the head pops up. Like I've seen that gif several times too. Because again, it's like, what the fuck is this?
What is happening? I think my favorite thing in the final or the third act that happens is the giant head. Like this guy just all of a sudden has a hand for a head, and then this giant long arm that comes out and extends. I was like, what the fuck? Whose mind is this coming from? Like, I guess this is Yuzna? I don't know.
Or like, Screaming Mad George. Yeah, it was one of the
shit. Such a wild, I know I said They Live had one of my favorite endings of all time, like 80s sci-fi endings of all time. This is just one of the wildest endings, period. I mean, if you go in with no context, and even if you do go in with context, it's still gonna fucking blow your socks off. Like when I saw this, I was like, this ramped up extremely fast. It's just like Will Ferrell said in Anchorman, like that escalated quickly. Dude, it escalates so fast. So fast.
It goes from like 35, 40 miles an hour in this whole movie, and it was like boom, 120 miles per hour, and then it's like oof, that.
Yeah, like whoa. Hold on a second. And then you get a nice little fight scene at the end where Bill basically fucking flips Ferguson inside out, and everyone else is like, oh, I'm not touching that. I'm out of here. And I love the ending line. The ending line was such a cherry on top because Ferguson was supposed to go work for I think the judge or the psychiatrist in Washington, and once the judge, so once he dies, the judge looks at the psychiatrist and he's like, well, I guess I've got an opening in Washington, and then it's like dun 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 dun, just roll credits. I was like, all right, like okay, you gotta love that ending. I love a little like a little zinger at the end. I love it so much. The only dislike I really had was the thing, we already talked about it and touched on it. It's just that weird kind of moment where it seems to shift to Milo being this main character, and then it goes back. If they would have just cut like that out, have him go to the hospital, have the whole thing with Milo trying to find him, and then just cut those scenes together. But it was weird that Milo kind of took over like the leading role. Other than that, I mean, I really don't have many dislikes about this movie. It's even before the third act. I think the first and second act are still interesting enough to they kept my attention the whole time. Like I was never bored. I was never taken out at any moment. It's just a really good story progression. I think it's it builds to that ending. And then, like I said, ending goes from 0 to 100 so fast.
Yeah. It's a very, small tightrope you've got to like when you're making a movie like this, where the entire like first two acts are like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going? Because it's easy to be like, I don't care anymore. I'm tapped out.
Right.
So it's got to keep your attention while also keeping you confused. Mm-hmm. So this movie walks that tightrope really, really well. And then, of course, obviously, the shunting is the shunting, and that's what that's what you come back for.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they're shunting, Jerry.
Yeah, they're shunting, Jerry. You come for the, you come for the. I came in for the poster card because I was like, okay, all right, this is interesting enough. And then you stay for this. You stay because of the shunting for sure. And I love how they if they didn't give it a name, it wouldn't have had as much impact. But the fact that they gave it this, I mean, shunt is a real word, but they just gave it this bizarre name, and it's like that's the perfect name for whatever they're doing. It was like it perfectly encapsulates what's going on. Shunting. Got it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you guys do down in Florida all the time, right? Isn't that what happens at the villages down in Florida?
Oh, I'm sure.
What they do every night.
That's what they have the loofahs for down there. You drive around on the golf carts with certain colored loofahs. I'm sure something like that is going on down there.
Isn't that like the highest density for like STDs in Florida?
Oh, yeah. I think it might even be larger than Florida. I think it might be one of the largest in the United States, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's a great place to catch something if you really
That
want
place
to.
is fascinating.
Yeah,
My grandparents, they moved into Fort Myers, but they briefly looked at the villages and they're like, we want no fucking part of this place.
Yeah, no. So if anybody doesn't know, I work in the mortgage industry, and I look at loans and appraisals all day. Every time I see one in the villages, I'm like, yeah, they're probably having a wild time down there.
Somebody's about to get laid.
Yeah, someone's about to get fucking down.
This one's going to take 2 taps of Viagra for tonight, if you know what I mean.
Then a trip to the hospital because your heart's going to be fucking racing. I don't really have a hot take for this movie, besides the fact that and this isn't really a hot take, but I don't think this movie's talked about enough. I don't think, but it's got great. And the thing is, it's got like a 3.5 on Letterboxd. For a movie like this is incredible, but I definitely think more people need to see this if you haven't already. It is so underappreciated and not talked about enough. So I guess that's my lukewarm take. I haven't had a really hot take in a long time, and I'm trying here.
No, I mean, and I totally agree with you. Like in this, and especially it makes more sense more and more every day in this current society.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like it's a good movie. There's little spots here. Some of the acting can be a little touch and go in spots. Some of the line deliveries can be like,
right.
Maybe let's take another take on that. Like when Milo's when he's like yelling at the nurse, I forgot what he says, but he's like, "Where is he? Where is he? Where is he?" I'm like, okay, let's
cut. Let's try that again.
Yeah,
back to one. All right.
Just like how about you say like, "Where is he?" Just once,
just
and
once.
Then we're fine.
Yeah, we can cut right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
My hooked moment is hearing the tape. So you hear the tape from David's perspective, and then you hear it from the psychiatrist's perspective. That's the moment when I'm like, something definitely is going down now, and I'm not sure, but I'm still not sure what to believe. So that's the moment when I'm entirely hooked into the movie. Is there a point in the movie that really kind of like the first time you watch it, we're like, ooh, this is interesting, outside of like the opening?
When he's zipping his sister's dress up, and then they're like her back just kind of bubbles real quick, and I was like, oh, it just must be wet. I was like, that's not how any wetness I've ever had works.
Yeah. I can double check.
You got a xenomorph in you, baby.
Yeah, that's not how it works. Not how it works. So lost moment for me. I don't have a moment where I'm lost, in my opinion. Is there, besides the little weird pacing issue that we both have, is there any moment that kind of ruins not ruins it, but just kind of like, I don't really like this moment, outside of the whole random shift of Milo being the main character?
No, that's really the biggest gripe I've got.
Okay.
And sort of, I like you said, the line where he was like, I guess we got another opening in DC.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's pretty hilarious, but also like them just like driving off to like, with nobody's like trying to block them after they kill Ferguson. I was like, I feel like maybe there should have been just maybe a little bit something other than just like, all right, later.
Yeah.
We just killed Ferguson later.
Yeah, but it's interesting because part of me feel it works so well because even if David goes to tell anybody, no one's gonna fucking believe him. So it's like no matter what, no one's gonna believe what Bill has to say. But yeah, it's like that's it. Yeah, it was like almost slightly anticlimactic.
Yeah.
The horror moment for me is obviously the shunting, but specifically when the judge sticks his hand up David's ass and out through his mouth and then like rips part of his face off. I was like, and then kind of like crushes it in. I'm like, oh God, I forgot how fucking brutal this was. Yeah. Is there a moment for you that just really, really like, you're like, fuck yeah, this is peak 80s?
Honestly, the fake death with the other, like the smart kid who was running against yeah, that whole sequence, like they pull the rug out from under you like really quick because the next scene he's not dead. I was like, maybe they should have milked that a little bit more than they ultimately did. But like, him just like finding him dead and like and his blood's cut, I was like, or like his throat's cut. I was like, didn't expect that one.
You're right. Yeah. I didn't expect that at all, and that's my favorite kill, and it's mainly because Bill opens the door to see Petrie there with his throat cut, and then the blood starts to come out. I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. He would have been bled out so long ago. Like the blood just all of a sudden spurting out. It's so funny. There's not a lot of kills in this. So there's a few, but is there a favorite one that stands out to you?
No, baby, like the one you say when the judge kills the Petrie.
Yeah,
kid.
or Petrie or David?
Yeah, David.
David,
Sorry,
yeah.
David. And also when the psychiatrist tries to kill Billy, but he's got like the Joker. Let me ask you about these scars. And every time I got these scars, Billy.
Like, all right, yeah, that was a good one. And then he turns into a giant handhead. I don't fucking understand it. My favorite character is a toss-up between David and Clarissa. David, because obviously he's trying to get to the bottom of things and he really gets the short end of the stick. And Clarissa, because she has a great character arc where she ultimately just feels bad for Billy and tries to help. So it's funny how the good character has the shit ending and the bad character kind of has, it's a real fun kind of like flip-flop on you, but it's kind of tied between both of them. Is there a character that you kind of relate to or that stands out to you?
I like the Billy character. I like Milo fine,
Yeah.
Also I like Ferguson. I liked Ferguson because he's, like I said, because he's just like concentrated 80s douche.
Yeah, he's like the vanilla extract of 80s douche.
Yeah, exactly. It's like orange concentrate. You got to mix it with water because it's just a little too much.
Yeah, only a couple of drops. Don't overdo it.
Exactly. No, we always do.
And then least favorite character for me is Bill Psychiatrist. You should be able, he's the one person out of everyone that you should be able to trust. And him being involved in all this was like such a slap in the face. So that's my least favorite character. So,
the parents were both the parents.
Yeah.
They were like, I hate
Fair.
both of you.
Fair.
You're buttheads. Both of you are buttheads. Okay.
He says butthead again right as he leaves too. He's talking to someone. He's like, blah, blah, blah. Butthead. I'm like, God, that was the ultimate 80s diss. That and calling someone a chicken were the two just peak 80s disses of all time. All right. Is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap up here?
No, watch Society. It's a good time.
Watch Society. It is a good time. Moving on to post-review stuff here. Taglines. In Beverly Hills, what you fear is only the beginning. You are what they eat. If you don't belong, they'll eat you alive. And it's a matter of good breeding. Really. Trivia. The scene where Billy sees Jenny's body distort in the shower was added during the production because director Brian Yuzna felt another shocking scene was needed earlier in the film. And that is a really fucky scene. I like that scene a lot. While shooting the infamous shunting scenes, Brian Yuzna would put a sign on the soundstage door that read, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here," which is very, very fitting. Brian Yuzna claims that he back-engineered the film's plot points based on special effect ideas or gimmicks, stating he was more interested in the surrealism of the story rather than the logic. The hospital used for the exterior shots is the same hospital used in Halloween 2, 1981. Billy Warlock's father, actor stuntman Dick Warlock, actually played the shape in Halloween 2. And finally, while filming the shunting scenes, Brian Yuzna purposefully avoided using any blood, fearing backlash from the MPAA. Smart decision. Smart decision. Because,
Billy Warlock also has a small role in Halloween 2.
Oh, does he?
He's when Michael Myers like walking the streets and there's one kid who like bumps into Michael Myers with the boombox.
Yeah.
That's Billy Warlock.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So he bumps into his daddy, got him a cameo job, I guess. On Halloween 2.
I love it. Two goofs here. Blanchard is obviously breathing while being dead in the coffin. Notice that on this watch. And when Billy brings Blanchard's tape to his psychiatrist's home, the shadow of the boom mic is clearly visible moving across the edge of the open door. Rated 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. This is 62% on the tomato meter and a 60% audience score. What did you rate this, Jason?
I gave it a 3.5. I might actually move up to a 4.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like right there. Like it's dangling. It's just dangling.
All right, because I gave it
one of my pacing issues is like it's 4. We're going 4.
Okay.
We're going 4.
Okay, because I had it at a 4, but upon the rewatch, I appreciated it so much more that I gave it a 4.5. So that is a Frightmare certified slap. Similar movies according to Letterboxd, we have Midsommar, House of a Thousand Corpses, Get Out, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974, and Cabin Fever. Similar movies according to IMDb, we have Reanimator, From Beyond, Brain Damage, Bride of Reanimator, and The Stuff. Very apt, very, very, very accurate there with the related movies. Did you happen to find any funny reviews, Jason? If not, okay, you got some. All right.
I got one guy who said, if David Cronenberg directed an episode of Saved by the Bell, it would look like this.
So
that was, hold on, I've got their name.
Okay.
So, give them credit for it. Merritt K.
Merritt
wrote
K.
that one on Letterboxd.
Okay. Let's see. 4 stars from Jay. What Jaws did for swimming in the ocean, society did for attending underground incest orgies.
I've got this one from Laird, 4-star reviews.
Okay.
Eyes wide shut.
I love that. 2.5 stars from Matthew. First 80 minutes, 1 star. Last 10 minutes, 5 stars. And I guess that's why they settled on 2.5. I've got 2 more here. What was it?
That was the one that I had.
Okay, I got 4 stars from Eli. Best utilization of the term butthead in the history of all cinema, television, and literature. And 3.5 stars from Mia. Eyes glued to the screen during the 20-minute flesh-squelching, face-sucking, anal-fisting body horror orgy, but had to look away when they showed 5 seconds of worms and an apple. So relatable.
Or the snails, or like the snails on the the forks. That's what they were eating, like hors d'oeuvres for snails.
Nope.
Ugh.
Fucking relatable.
Don't need it.
Can't do it.
Don't want it.
So if you enjoy the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and / your app at frightmarespodcast. Our email is stayspooky@outlook.com. You can also follow me personally on Letterboxd at Dr. Proctor. Jason is meow _ Pacino, or is it just meow Pacino? Yes. Okay.
No, it's _ meow _ Pacino.
Go follow him. He always does great, funny one-liners, as you hear me talk about every week.
Doing the cult film challenge. I actually need to watch this week. I still haven't watched it. The Bong Wook Ho. What? No. The guy who directed Old Boy. Park Chan-wook.
There we go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've fucking trying to find Old Boy on Blu-ray, and it's just one of those fucking mysterious, just, elusive releases that I'm trying to find. I found it for like $30 on eBay. I'm going to try and talk the guy down to like 25.
Good luck.
Yeah, we'll see. So next week, John and I will be back doing Frankenhooker from 1990. We are on a roll with the weird B movies, and I'm fucking here for it. So until then, stay tuned and stay spooky.